Greetings, dear friends. In this video, we are starting a course on developing e-commerce platforms using WordPress and WooCommerce. In this lesson, I will tell you what you need to install on your computer to take this course, and what minimum skills you should have for a full understanding of the material that I will be presenting in this course. If you are already working as a web developer, these programs are probably already installed on your computer. So we will be working with Docker. If you don't have Docker on your system, go to the official website, download and install it. This is what Docker looks like this, an additional program. If you have a MacBook operating system, you don't need to configure anything additional. If you have a Windows operating system, you need to install WSL2 separately via the command line. You can find this online. It's very easy to do. For this step, make sure you have this checkbox selected. It will simply speed up the work. Specifically for projects on the Windows operating system, since the file system on Windows and Linux is different. And this WSL2 essentially installs Linux on your Windows, allowing Docker to use the Linux operating system to interpret the files we write. You don't have to do this. By default, with a clean Docker installation, everything will work fine too. But I think you'll notice it might slow down. Basically, it's clear about Docker. You just download the program, install it, and that's it. Currently, I have version 4.36, a new version 1 has been released, and I can install it. I usually always install the latest version, and by using the latest version, all updates were downloaded. You need to restart for this update to take effect, and once it's completed, Docker will be the latest version. Excellent. Now I also have the most current or latest version in my system. The next program you should have installed is a code editor. I will be using Visual Studio Code because I find it comfortable to work with. You can use any one you like. The one you already have installed, feel free to use it. We will be using the code editor only for writing code. But if you are a beginner and want to follow along with the video, I recommend using Visual Studio Code. That way many questions will be eliminated. You will simply follow along with me and you won't have to look for an equivalent option. Also, in this course, we will implement CI/CD using GitHub Actions. Therefore, you should install Git on your system if you haven't already, and create an account on GitHub. In this course, we will need both a local Git and a separate GitHub account. If you are hearing about Git and GitHub for the first time, don't worry. There's nothing complicated about it. Everything you need to understand, I will show and demonstrate in the course. The third important tool that you must have installed is Figma. Since the design was developed in Figma, it will be attached to the course, and you will be able to download it. And specifically, the process of layout. We will be converting from Figma to HTML to React components for building blocks in WordPress. Therefore, make sure to install Figma as well. These three programs are the minimum that should be installed on your system. If you work in development, I'm sure you already have them. Now let's figure out what minimum skills you need for a good understanding of this course. Firstly, you need to know how to do layout. Since we will be creating WordPress theme from Figma, and we will be coding this design, we don't have a ready-made HTML template, so you need to already know HTML and CSS. That is, you should be able to turn some basic designs into HTML templates. The second point, you need to know the syntax of PHP and JavaScript. Since we will be writing code for WordPress in two languages, in PHP and JavaScript, we will be developing a number of components. You don't necessarily have to be a specialist or study React separately, because everything you need to understand, I will show you in this course. And by following along with me, you will quickly grasp this process and understand it. But if you have some background in React, that's just wonderful. It will be much easier for you to handle sections with React components. I will try to make this course universal so that it is useful, both for junior, let's say beginner developers and experienced developers who already work with WordPress. In particular, for those who have developed classic themes, here I will be using a completely new approach, full site editing theme development. A completely different approach, writing blocks in JavaScript. Therefore, even experienced WordPress developers, I believe, will find many new and interesting aspects in this course. And to conclude the first lesson, let's go through our layout and see what we will be working with in this course. The layout is available in two color schemes, light and dark. We will be developing this process, and our project will have two variations. The user will have the ability to switch this variation I will quickly go through all the pages now to show you what we will be working with, but we will discuss each section and each block in detail. As we progress through this course, we will discuss them in separate lessons. So the main page, we have a header, we have a hero section, we have an animated product slider. Our project is an online video game store. Next, we have a news section, a newsletter subscription section, and a featured games section. We have a call to action that displays some information and suggests following links. And we have a footer. In the dark version of the site, this design looks as follows. The dark version is more contrasting, more vibrant. Which version will be the main one? Most likely the white one, but we will make an option to specify it from the admin panel. And the administrator will be able to forcibly set which version will be the main one. The next page is contacts. We will have a type of pop-up blocks, like this type of sticky pop-up block. When scrolling the page, it will be displayed and call to action, like purchasing a game. In the dark version, the contacts look like this. Next is the news section. This is a single for news, meaning the open news page will look like this. News archive. They will look as follows. Note that each type of page has its own separate header, meaning its own separate hero section. We will be developing this, and I will show you how it is implemented, how a global template is created for this purpose, so that WordPress automatically and dynamically selects the appropriate header for the appropriate type of page. Next, we have the online store page itself. The OpenGame product will look like this. It has a lot of dynamic data, various platforms, available languages, different icons, different genres, different metadata. Also, a slider with screenshots and video trailers, an additional second description, a special block that will show product variations, since there is one product but it has different variations. Standard edition, deluxe edition, complete edition, and so on. It will be very easy to navigate through the product variations. There will also be static blocks of this kind, which will slightly diversify the design to make it look more vibrant. Then, a third description in the form of an accordion will be on the page. There will be a slider of similar products, and all these sections you see now are all blocks on a number of components for Gutenberg. That is, we will be able to click on any block in the admin panel and edit it. I repeat, we will use a modern approach to building full site editing, not a classic theme for WooCommerce, but specifically block development. The dark version of the page looks like this. Next, the archive page looks as follows. It has its own separate header, its own filtering. You can reset this filter by pressing a button. The video game grid looks like this. The Load More button will load more onto this same page. Next, the call to action section and bestsellers. A slider with additional games. Let's move on. The cart page looks like this. Again, it has its own header with some additional links. The custom cart itself, after it, there's a section offering additional products. There will be products on the site besides games, and such accessories I will show how to separate so that games are displayed in one section and accessories in a completely different section. And a block with products that are usually bought when purchasing the current product. Next, we have the checkout page, which looks like this. In addition to the checkout for the online store, a personal account is also necessary. I haven't designed it yet, but within this course, we will implement it. Later, we will definitely add something interesting for the account. These pages are our basic starting point. We will use it as a model, but within the course, we might change some minor details or perhaps add something extra. There might be a need for a new page. We will build it as well. Let's move on. Let's see what other pages we have. We have a page for services. It looks quite interesting. This is an informational page. Notice that it already has a block with accessory products. Besides this page, we have a help page, also an info page, and it looks like this. These are the pages we will be working with in this course. The sequence is as follows. We will start by creating important blocks such as the header, footer, surgeries. Then we will move on to blocks within WordPress such as news, archive pages, single pages. After implementing this framework, so to speak, a block theme in WordPress, we will move directly to the functionality of the online store and start developing all sections, all blocks that will specifically be responsible for the WooCommerce area and the online store products. This concludes our current lesson. See you in the next lesson.